at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team or one of the dedicated agents at Boston Connect Real Estate to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with us at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all my South Shore neighbors. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I am not joined today by my team members, Sharon McNamara or Mary Baker. Mary is doing an open house, and Sharon's actually upstairs, so maybe she's listening. But I am joined by the one and only Tracy Grady.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. I might have to turn your microphone up, so if I step away from you, sorry. But, yeah, well, thanks so much. I think we planned this yesterday, so that's good. Yeah. I think Sharon was like, oh, I have to do this, and this, and I'm like, well, why don't we see if somebody wants to do the show? And I think Julie might have called you or something. Suckered you into it.
She hunted me down. I sent you an email like an hour ago, but they really need an answer.
I like how she thought the building was on fire. I was like, we need to find somebody. Yeah, I could have just been talking to myself for an hour.
So what do you think?
So many things. They all had multiple personalities. I could have been talking to them. Well, you have joined us before, but why don't you take a minute to sort of introduce yourself to all of our listeners who might not know who you are, and I'm going to turn your microphone up.
Okay, so my name is Tracy Grady. I am the half member of the Grady team here at Boston Connect Real Estate. My husband Jim and I work together. We've been doing it for about 7 years now, and we've been working longer than me. Just a little bit longer than you. Yeah, just a little bit longer than you. So it's Jim and I together as a team. We love working together. I know husband and wife teams, everybody's like, how do you spend so much time together? But
you make things like a date day.
Yeah,
and
date day, we go on adventure. Yeah, we go on adventures, and and thank God we have Jim, because he has, as he says, I can make it rain, but he's the squeegee that cleans up after me.
It's funny. We were talking the other day. We had a discussion panel. You were here. And so on Tuesday we did this discussion panel with some of our agents, and they just sort of talked about some things that happened to them last year in their transactions, and what they learned from it, and if there's something that they could have improved on or whatever. And the Flynns, Trish and Nick, were talking, and I guess Nick was talking with the co-work, and the co-work said that they wanted to talk to Trish, and he was like, you want to talk to Trish? You're out of your mind. Okay. And, the transaction wasn't going that well, so to talk to Trish, she was the bulldog, and Nick is the one with the...
Nick is me, and Nick is you, and Trish is Jim in the relationship.
Yeah.
So when somebody says to me they want to talk to Jim, I'm like, I'm not sure about that.
You want to talk to Jim? Oh, poor Jim. No, we love Jim.
Oh, no. We have to have Jim.
Yeah, we have to have Jim. But it doesn't always go that way, though. Sometimes it goes really well. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. Gets along. Exactly. But we didn't talk about those transactions on Tuesday.
No, we didn't talk about the happy ones so much. But there are plenty of happy transactions in 2022, that is for sure.
Yes.
So.
Okay, so you introduced yourself. I turned your microphone up. But today, we are going to be talking about the importance of pulling permits.
Correct.
So, obviously, you would have been the perfect person. So why don't you give a little bit of your background and why we sort of only thought of you to join on the show today.
So I started working in the Pembroke Building Department back in 2008, which is how I met Sharon and got into the world of real estate, working in the building department. So I worked with the building inspectors, the plumbing and gas inspectors, the actual, oh my goodness, who had sealer of weights and measures, so scheduling everybody to go out there. So I was the hands-on person that did all the permitting and talked to all the people in the building department, and the people that came in and said, do I need to pull a permit? What if I didn't pull a permit? What happens? What happens?
What happens?
What happens if you don't pull a permit?
And what is that, asking for forgiveness instead of permission?
Pretty much, yeah.
And there's the show.
And there we go. There's the show. You can always go back and pull your permit. Unfortunately, you may get charged double the cost. So you have to be careful of that.
Yeah.
Especially on expensive permits.
Okay. Let's sort of, I hate to say dumb it down, but let's get to every single part of it. So what is a permit? Why would you need a permit?
So you're going to need to pull up. So everybody comes in and asks questions. If I replace the cabinets and they're coming in out of my kitchen in the same place that they're going back into my kitchen, do I need a permit? Technically, no, probably not, because there's no actual construction work going on. But I always say, pulling a permit, you're better off pulling the permit because it's basically a date and a time stamp of when you did the work, and you can prove that the work was done and that a permit was pulled to complete the work, and that it was signed off and it was done up to code, to whatever the state code is at the time. You have to remember, state codes do change, so sometimes, like if you go back 20 years and you pull a permit from 20 years ago, the code back 20 years ago could be completely different from what the code is today. So that's important.
Nice.
Yep.
That is important.
It's important, yeah. So it's important to pull permits. Not everybody pulls permits, but...
So how do people get away with not pulling permits? Is it because the town isn't living in your house with you and you won't see
There are
it?
no permit police that come knocking at your door. I always say...
Permit police?
There are no permit police. There's no building police.
And if there was, I'm sure Colin would have tried it out for a little while before going to DC.
Exactly. Colin would have definitely taken that opportunity. So I always say, if you're not going to pull a permit, make sure you're in really good standing with your neighbors, because they'll be the first people to walk into the town hall and tell us that you're pulling that, at the time, that you are doing work on your house and it doesn't appear you have a permit. So that would definitely incite a building inspector to go to your house, knock on the door, ask you if you're doing work. So I always say, if you're not going to pull a permit, make sure that you are, really good friends with your neighbor, because 9 out of 10 times, the person that's going to kind of dime you out is going to be the person that had to pull a permit to do their work, and they're going to make sure everybody's being held to the same set of standards.
Yeah.
So
And don't come together as a neighborhood and say, listen, I want to do this, let's not pull permits. Because someone will get mad.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen. But yeah. So it is. It's important to pull permit. Again, date and time stamp. You're just protecting yourself. I think that's the most important thing. If you're going to do a project in your house, especially if you're thinking down the line, I'm going to sell my house, it's important to have that date and that time stamp and the person's name that did the work, so that the person that's buying your house is confident that you did the right thing.
Done right, yeah.
Correct.
So why do people not pull permits, other than just not wanting to go to town hall? Is it just like they fear okay, well, how much is a permit? $50?
It's based on the total cost of the project. It's usually $10 per thousand.
Okay.
Of the total cost. I think it's 10. It's been a while, so.
So if you do $10,000 in a renovation, you don't have $100 to spend on a permit, you probably shouldn't be doing.
When I think about it, I have to go back. I should look that up today. To go back, but it's all based on the total cost of the job. So anything, that's probably about right, because a standard permit, and every town is different. Let me preface that. Every town is very different. The rules and regulations for the town of Pembroke could be completely different than the rules and regulations for the town of Hanover. And then you also should read the zoning bylaws, and they're all different. No town is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand that every town has all of its own pricing and rules and regulations. A lot of times the towns will call each other to make sure everybody's kind of setting a standard, that nobody's going ridiculously high and nobody's giving them away. So, once in a while you get a call from another town. It says, where are you at? Send me your pricing cost. Send me a list.
So are people concerned that they won't get permits? That's what I don't understand, of why people don't.
You have to provide a considerable amount of paperwork, and you have to get quite a few signatures on your permit depending on what you're doing. So there's kind of it's almost, you used to, now we're online with permitting. Most towns are online with permitting, so it does make it a little bit easier. You can go online, fill out your application, and then it'll go from department to department to department to be signed off on. Tax collector wants to make sure your taxes are paid.
Yeah.
Could be a big one. If you want to do a project in your house and you're back on your taxes, you're not going to walk into town hall and be like, hi,
I'm going to spend all this money on this renovations. Why don't you spend your money on your taxes?
No, exactly. The assessor's office signs off, because the assessor's office wants to know what everybody's doing in town. That's how your taxes are based. So if you increase the size of your house, you're going to increase your tax base, so the assessor is going to want to know. So when you come in with your project, I'm going to remodel my bathroom. You're going to need to pull a permit for the building. You're going to have to get the tax collector to sign off. You're going to have to get the assessor's office to sign off. You have to get more than likely the Board of Health to sign off. I mean, it depends on the nature of your project. If it's a very large addition, then you're going to have a zoning approval.
Like an in-law.
Yeah, an in-law.
Yeah.
A perfect example. An in-law addition is going to require a zoning hearing in most towns to get permission to have an accessory unit in your house, and every town has different rules and regulations about that.
Yeah.
So, it has to be, an in-law is going to have to be, in the town of Pembroke example, attached, cannot be detached, cannot be bigger than 800 square feet, and you have to put a separate septic tank in for that unit. Even if you have a 4-bedroom septic system and only 3 bedrooms in your house, you still have to have a separate tank for your in-law. So it's important, that's why you really have to go to the town hall and get your, you want to make sure that you're doing it the right way.
Is it the homeowner that is going and getting the permit, or is it the person who's doing the work?
If you have a general contractor, normally they would pull the permit, supply their license. But as a homeowner, you can pull your own permit to do work in your own house and become your own GC and hire whoever you want to hire. Now, if Uncle Charlie is a contractor, but he doesn't have a license, but you feel comfortable using him, you can pull the permit as the homeowner and contract Uncle Charlie to do the work for you. But if somebody has a construction supervisor's license and a home improvement contractor's license, they should really be responsible and should be pulling the permit.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's, if you're just doing a small project, again, I think it's even more important when you're the homeowner doing the work, because you want to make sure that you get it signed off, so that whoever comes in later, pulls the permit to look to see who did the work, will say,
Well, I can imagine there might be some people out there that say, well, it's my home, I can do what I want with my home, so why would I pull a permit to, cause a scene and have to do this and this? Like, it's my home, I own it, I should be able to do it, right?
There are plenty of people out there who don't tell me what I can do on my property.
Do you want me to fix this for you?
I feel like I'm... Oh, yeah, that's better. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, there are plenty of people out there that don't like to be told what to do. And they feel like you're sticking.
I don't like to be told what to do either, but I don't pull permits.
Not yet, but someday.
Not yet, but someday. Yeah. So, I'm assuming that now I'm like, oh God, am I blowing up their spot? You're doing some renovations in your home.
Yes, and I can pull a permit.
Okay, good. I started to say it, and I was like, oh gosh. Did she not?
No, I absolutely pulled.
You're definitely, changing up your house.
We are in the full road doing over our kitchen. So we've been without a kitchen since the beginning of September.
Nice.
We ripped it all out, so it's a lot of work. So I don't recommend that you do it with small children. We've been living out of our dining room for the past 3 months and cooking in, thank you Flo, God rest your soul, gave us every appliance known to man that we can possibly cook in. So we haven't been that bad. We have toaster oven, crock pot, hot pot. We have an air fryer.
What else do you really need?
I mean, you really can cook almost anything in all of those appliances. Although you do find that some of the cords are really short and you can't plug them into the wall. So I'm like, I don't know where to put those. So, and we've done
It's next to your fine china in the dining room.
a lot of takeout, a lot of Christina's takeout. Yeah, home from work. What do we have for lunch tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know, look at the menu, I'll bring something home. We'll have that for lunch tomorrow. It's definitely, it is quite a bit of work. We had everything ripped out. Our cabinets are back in, our hood's in. We just got templated for quartz, so we're doing we're getting there now. We were having this debate the other night. Which do you think you're going to miss most when you take everything out of your kitchen? So we have a refrigerator that we're still using, so the stove has been gone and the sink has been gone for 3 months. And Jim and I were trying to decide the other night, which do you miss more, the stove or the sink? I'm like, I think I miss the sink. I miss the sink. Like, you just have no place to put anything.
Yeah.
Where do you put your bathroom? In the bathroom upstairs. The spare bathroom upstairs is now the kitchen sink, which is like the size of like a football. Like trying to fit an electric fry pan in a small bathroom sink is pretty much it. So now Jim is because Jim pretty much does most of the dishes, so I'm not going to even try to take credit for doing the dishes. He's like, let's just do takeout. I don't feel like cleaning that pan tonight in the small sink.
Yeah, you didn't switch to paper plates?
Oh, we do. No, we have plenty of paper plates. It's the big appliances. It's the electric fry pan, it's the air fryer, the basket, and they're big, and you're trying to wash them in the sink. That's the size of a football.
What about the bathtub?
I've done that. Jim's like, no, I'm refusing to do the bathtub, but I will do the bathtub. Like, all right, just fill that sucker up, close the door, and let that soak. That has to soak.
Yeah.
I love that. That has to soak. That's a soaker, Jim. Just let that go.
Oh, no, that's a goner, Jim. You're just going to throw that away. That would be me.
Yeah, that's true. We got a new one.
Well, maybe you have a dishwasher coming, right?
Yeah, we have a dishwasher. Yeah, we have a dishwasher. Yeah, miss the dishwasher. That's, yeah. I have Jim now, so
You have Jim's the dishwasher.
I really understood that he really does do all that. Like, I'm pretty spoiled. I am pretty spoiled. I think everybody knows that, but
That's so funny.
yeah. So we're getting to the end of that project, but yes, we did pull a permit to do the project, and plumbers. We have to have plumbers come in. Plumbers pull permits. Electricians pull permits. That's another topic. Can a homeowner do their own plumbing? Can they do their own electrical work?
Can they?
Plumbing, no, absolutely not. You can't install a toilet yourself. You cannot do that yourself. You have to have a licensed plumber do that work. I don't advise anybody touching a gas line on their own. That needs to be done by a gas technician or a plumber. I don't highly recommend that you do your own electric work in your house. Town of Pembroke does not allow you to do your own electric work as a homeowner. Sometimes it is written that you can. I don't recommend that you do that. Not ever. I mean, that's a big undertaking, and a lot of times, house fires, people will go back to see if you pulled a permit to do the work in your house. God forbid you have a fire in your house. They're going to go back to see if you pulled a permit. You didn't.
I was just going to say, wouldn't the insurance company want you to pull a permit and have a professional do these work?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's really important to have a plumber and electrician licensed, pull a permit to do the work in your house. Yeah. That's just hands down.
And if you need anybody, we know.
We've got him.
We've got him.
You just got a guy. I got a guy.
We got a guy.
Got a guy.
Yeah. So, to get back to your kitchen, I've seen it in disarray, but it looks like it was going to be nice.
It's going to be nice.
So I can't wait. So Thanksgiving was not at your house. You did not cook.
Christmas was good at our house. We have not had a major holiday since, I think, 4th of July, maybe.
Yeah.
So,
but where's all your barbecue? So
it's kind of easy. Yeah, the barbecue thing is great, except when it's really cold outside and it's dark. It's like not summertime.
Yeah.
But you can cook. I mean, we do a lot of cooking on the grill, but it's kind of cool.
Can't fit that in the bathroom sink.
No, it doesn't fit in the bathroom sink. And then it just becomes like, all right, what are we eating today? I'm so tired. I cannot wait to get our range in. I'm like so excited. I can't wait. We went to my son's house in D.C. at Christmas time, and I baked in the oven, and I was able to cook, and I made calzones, and Jim looks at me, do you remember how to cook?
So when is it going to be complete?
Oh, that's a tough call. Our appliances were ordered in January of 2022. We still don't have our appliances, our range and our refrigerator.
Are they coming from another planet?
I have to be honest, the range is in the warehouse, so we can pick that up, but unfortunately we're still waiting for some cabinet, and the countertops have to go in before the range can go in. But it's in stock, and it's in the warehouse, which is huge, so that's a year. And then the refrigerator is due in March.
What's taking so long?
Chain, everybody's going to tell you it's going to be the post-COVID delay of getting appliances. I do think a lot of, even when I was still working at the building department during COVID, I think you either sat in your house and said, I'm going to renovate my house and I'm going to make it look like $1 million. I have all this time. I'm going to be home. Let's do it now while I'm home. Yeah. Or you looked around your house and you were like, there's no way I'm staying here for the next 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Let's sell it. Because the market was great during COVID, which I thought it was going to be a standstill market and the world was going to come to a standstill. Yeah. And instead, it went crazy. The market went nuts. Yeah. So I think people sat in their house and they were like, I don't want to be here. I can't stay here. I'm not used to being in my house this long, and I'm looking around and I don't think I want to stay here. I'm going to sell it. Yeah. And buy something else. Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that more people right now are thinking, I don't think I want to stay here. I want to we need some more inventory. We definitely need some inventory, people. All price ranges. All price ranges. No, everything. No price is too low, no price is too high. We just need some inventory.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking today? I mean, it may have changed, but was 5 houses on the market in Pembroke? 5. Maybe. 5.
Maybe.
Usually there's anywhere up to 60 days worth of inventory on the market at any given time. Back in the real days. Back in the olden days before COVID. Yeah, you would have, anywhere between 30 to 60 days worth of inventory on the market. Now we have like 4 and 5 houses. So if you're thinking about selling your home, I'm telling you, now is the time.
Yeah.
Because the inventory is very low, and there are still buyers out there that are actively looking.
Yes, actively looking.
I have a young couple that's been looking for over a year. They've made offers and didn't get accepted during the crazy times.
Yeah.
And now we're out looking at houses that I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's nice, but you don't have a lot of choice here. And So if you're thinking, now is the time. Don't wait. Everyone's like, wait till the spring market. I'm like, no, don't wait for the spring market. There are buyers out there right now, and there's not a lot of competition for the seller. So if you really want to sell it, this is the time to do it.
And honestly, like all week, it's pretty much been like spring weather. So like, why not put your house in the market now?
I think winter's, I'm going to say not going to as it's snowing outside right now.
Yeah,
But
I know.
but it's been pretty nice.
Yeah. Where was I going with that?
We're talking about the weather.
I short-circuited for a second. Sharon always says that like the spring market actually starts like the Monday after the Super Bowl, which I feel like the Super Bowl, did I read that it's on the 12th?
Yeah, late. It was late last year too. It wasn't the first weekend in February last year. It was the second weekend.
Yeah, so the second weekend in February, and honestly, like I wanted to start before then because I feel like February 12th is so late. So right now, like let's start the spring market.
I say get it going.
Let's go.
I say get it started. Don't wait. Yes, I do believe the spring market starts right after Super Bowl. That's usually when people start to get serious about putting their house on the market and start talking about it. But
I wonder if that's the case around the country, or is it just us?
A New England thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I want to know.
Now I'm going to have to do some research.
I'm going to have to ask my friends who live in other states.
Yeah. What's your spring market? When's your spring market?
And they're like, what? Because they're not in real estate. And like,
Florida's like, we don't really have a spring market. We're happy down here all the time.
Yeah, I know. Well, the first person I thought of was my friend Stephanie, but she lives in Florida. Her husband and 2 kids, they own a house, and I don't think they plan on moving anytime soon, so they might not know.
Yeah. they might not.
They might not know. And they live in like one of those communities where like every house looks like the next one. It's like they're all like the gated community on the golf courses and stuff, so they all look like each other, and they're a lot less than up here. But I'm just like, so I don't know when their spring market.
I don't know either.
If you experience spring all year round, give us a call. But if you do have any questions, we will get back to permitting. I know we're like squirreling here right now, but if you have any questions about permitting or just want to talk to us, you can call the studio at 781-837-4900, and we might be able to answer your question. We might not. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Okay. Let's look back at our little agenda here. Julia worked so hard on this.
She was like, if you have any tips or anything, I'm like, oh, okay. So we can definitely do that. Yeah, when you get your permit, it has to be clearly posted in the window.
Oh, yes.
So that when the building inspector drives by, when your neighbor drives you out, they can see that you have a bright orange, yellow, green, whatever. It's usually a very bright neon card.
Yeah.
It should be posted in the window, or it should be on site someplace.
How long does it have to be in that window? Because I'm just thinking,
It's complete.
Okay, because we have one in our window, so everyone knows I live with Mary and Sam for the time being, and there is a thing in the window, but I feel like it might have been for the solar panels.
Okay.
But they're up.
So like,
do they need to still... Does the thing need to still be in the window?
After it gets signed off, after the building inspector and the electrical inspector inspect the solar, then it should be basically the building inspector comes out to inspect the roof to make sure that there wasn't any, they'll go into the attic space where the solar panels are put in to make sure that there are no nails coming through the top of the roof. That's basically, you just don't want any holes in your roof. Building inspector will do that, and then the wiring inspector will inspect the electrical to make sure it's done properly. As soon as it's signed off, you're good. You can just file the permit away. Yeah, you probably take it down.
Yeah.
Or, although I will say, sometimes solar does take a little while. Is everything installed and up and running? You don't yet.
I was told that the big switch happened, so.
So yeah, probably time to get that signed out. And it's important, to get your permit. And it's not just important to pull the permit. It's important to follow up with the contractor and make sure you get your final sign-offs, pending on pending what the project is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in a group chat right now with the people I live with, and Holly, who is Sam's mom, said that there's a fox in our backyard. And so I guess he's a fluffy guy. So, but we have Dexter, so we have to make sure that Dexter doesn't go out there and get into a fight.
Yep, we have that now. She's the same, although she's afraid of her own shadow.
Well, I think Dexter would be afraid of a fox. I think my cat would go after it, and then my cat would probably be beat up by that fox. Let's not do the fight, Zoe.
Let's not.
Why should you pull a permit? We already went through that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of people that don't. Let's talk a little bit about, I'm going to buy a house. I go to the building department. I pull the jacket. The jacket is a file that the building department keeps with all of the permits that have been pulled over the years, the best of their ability. I mean, it's a paper file. In the case of the town of Pembroke, there was a very terrible fire in 1978, and most of the files were compromised. So anything prior to 1978, it's kind of hard to say whether there was a permit pulled or not pulled. And some of the paperwork did. I mean, you can open up the jacket, the folder, and you can see burnt edges on the edge of some of the paperwork. So, yeah. So it's, a lot of times if people are buying a house, they're going to go in, they're going to pull the jacket on the address, and they're going to see all the permits that have been pulled. So now let's say that you didn't pull a permit. You did a project, you did your basement over, you did it yourself, you didn't pull a permit. Does that mean you shouldn't buy the house because a permit wasn't pulled? No. That's, yes, they should have pulled a permit. You can, ask them questions about the project. Henceforth, the importance of having a home inspection. Home inspector goes in, he can't see through the walls, but the house is still standing, the room looks nice. It doesn't mean you shouldn't buy the house.
Yeah.
It just means the person didn't pull a permit to do the work. Is it the right thing? No, it's not. But it doesn't mean the work wasn't done properly. I mean, if you go in and there's a sagging ceiling and you're looking, I mean, it's pretty obvious when something hasn't been done right as opposed to when it is.
Yeah. We've been talking about it on the show, like, home inspections are back. Inspections are back. Not everybody's moving them anymore. But when you're at your home inspection, the home inspector will say, this obviously is an addition, or this is, something that has a deck, whatever. They might say, you might want to see if there's a permit, or there might be this, or, but your agent should be the one asking, if there's any permits for any of these things.
To make sure that they were permit. We usually ask people that did work in their house, did you pull permits to do the work? I usually take them at face value. I don't always go in and check the jacket to make sure that the permits are pulled. If the homeowner tells me they pulled the permit, as far as I'm concerned, they pulled the permit.
Yeah. So what I was thinking of when you said that there was a fire, in 1978?
1978, right after the blizzard.
So do you have people that go in and say, I think there was work done on my house in 1968 and I want to see the permit?
Yep.
What?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. We have people that go
in the 60s?
Yeah, and there's paperwork that goes pretty far back in some of the files that didn't get compromised in the fire.
Well, what are you going to do if something was wrong in the 60s, and who are you going to go after?
Technically, it's not really going to matter because the code's probably changed 10 times over. So the work was done to code in 1968. Does not mean that it's meeting the standards of today.
Yeah.
So it just means that it was done correctly at the time, and more than likely, it has not failed. Because it was done to code at the time.
So my question about that is when the codes change and somebody goes and they come into a house and say, that's not up to code, can the sort of not, what's the word, I'm going to say back to you, it was up to code when it was put in. Does it need to be up to the current code or
code at the time that the work was done? So now if you start doing work again, it's going to be brought up to this code. If you're working on that specific item, it's going to have to be brought up to today's code. Yep.
What's a common thing that could happen?
Let's see. Electrical decks changed. Probably 10 or 12 years ago. You can't notch out a deck, which let me tell you right now, I don't even know how to read a ruler. So they let me work in the building department was amazing at the time. So I'm going to be honest with you people right now. I'm not a ruler. I'm not a ruler girl. And I'm like, I half-inch, quarter-inch, and all the builders look at me like, you don't understand. I'm like, no, I don't. But that's not my job. That's not my job.
I don't do the work, I just give the permits.
So years ago, I mean, nails changed. There were, 20 years ago, you could just use a regular straight nail in a deck. And now you need to use a screw nails because it'll last longer and it attaches stronger. It's more of a connection. Things of that nature.
Safety issues?
Safety issues. You go underneath a deck and the way that it's braced. There's a whole section, most towns have it online, on how to build a deck now, because those rules and regulations changed drastically probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, you can't just have like little supports on the four corners. You can have something.
And almost the first thing every building inspector, not building inspector, but a home inspector will do is if there's a deck on the house, the first thing they're going is underneath that deck to see how it's supported underneath and to see if it's attached to the house. A lot of times they were detached from the house, so there was a little space in between.
Yeah.
But now it needs to be somehow screwed into the house.
Yeah, and not screwed into a rotted piece of the house.
Correct. Yep. Laws, electrical code changes quite a bit. A couple of years ago, you needed to have a ground line in the foundation. It didn't need to be there, let's say, 20, I don't know, I'm dating myself now. I worked there for 13 years. That'll be 20 far enough back. Say 25, 30 years ago, you didn't necessarily have to have the ground wire in the foundation, but now it is a must. You have to have a ground wire in the foundation. So those are some of the things, little things that change, and that's the responsibility of the electrician, is to stay up on the current codes, and they have to go to classes to get their credits updated and to be updated when the code book changes. They need to go to code classes. So who
has to go to these code classes?
The electricians. The electricians. So when the code changes.
Yeah. So when the people who are actually doing the work needs to have these licenses. But what if you use somebody who isn't licensed? You can still pull a permit for somebody who's not licensed to do the work, or
as a not as a plumber. You cannot pull a permit.
Not as a plumber.
Not as a plumber. And I would argue the point as an electrician as well.
That makes me nervous.
Yep. I saw that yesterday. I saw in the whatever we had here. I saw that it said electrical didn't need to be, but trust me, you want a licensed electrician. You don't want anybody doing wiring in your house.
Yeah. I would be nervous.
Yeah, I would be nervous too. Because I'm going to guess that's probably one of the top 10 reasons of house fires is going to be something electrical that goes awry, and you just want to make sure that you have somebody that's licensed to do the work.
Yeah, because sorry to cut you off, but I would think that, okay, so what if there was a fire and your insurance, knows that you just did work, and they're going to ask,
They can see what the nature of the fire was, and if that was what was worked on, then they're going to go back and make sure that you pulled a permit to do the work, if a permit was required.
And use somebody who's licensed?
Yes, somebody who's licensed. Yeah, you can't, So as a builder, you can hire whoever you want to do the work in your house, and you can pull the permit as the homeowner. That's fine. Like I said, Uncle Charlie, somebody who is licensed, somebody who's not licensed, somebody you trust is going to come in, they're going to do the work for less money. So it's fine. You, as the homeowner, have become your own GC, and you're taking responsibility for the work that they do.
Yeah.
So when the building inspector comes out to inspect the work, it's going to be on your shoulders, not the person that's doing the work, because you've taken that burden off of them.
Yeah. So you do a lot of new construction.
Yes.
Yes. So has anyone ever asked you, a buyer has come in, have they ever asked you about who's the one doing all the work? Are they licensed or anything? Do you get any of those questions, or are they more focused on the way that the house looks?
It's more focused on the way that the house, I'm sure that the builders that we work with do get that question, but it's pretty clear that new construction, you get a whole list of the contractors right up front, so you know who you're working with. What we get a lot with new construction is, my dad is a licensed plumber.
Oh, can my dad
do the work? Yeah. And the only downside of that, yes, it's fine, Dad can do the work, it's definitely going to save you money, we're not trying to, get you to use our plumber. The problem usually comes in is that Dad or Uncle Charlie are doing this on the side, so they're going to do it on their time because they're not really charging you, and that could affect the timeline of the builder, who has a set timeline. The builder wants, your plumbing is going to get done on these 3 days, electrician's going to come in for the next 3 days. If Dad can't get there till the following weekend, now you're upsetting the builder's schedule. So you have to kind of be aware that, yes, we can save you some money, let the family member do the work, but this is the timeline and they need to keep to
I feel like it's more like understanding if like the builder's doing like one build or two builds, like the onesie twosies, but like the whole, when they're doing a big development, I feel like the answer is most likely going to be no, because A, they're on a schedule, they have, 50 homes to build, and B, they're trying to get out a product that is consistent. And how can you put out a product that's consistent if you're not using the same people on every house?
And our builder that we use all the time has a set crew that he has probably, I'm going to say 25 to 30 years.
Yeah.
The same people. We know when they're going to be there. You know what their work ethic is.
Yeah.
They keep a clean job site. Everything is neat as a pin. It's tough to give up that control, especially for the builder, because again, he's giving you an expectation of a date that we're going to be done, and I will say he keeps to it, but when you add that factor in, like, oh, my dad's an electrician, and he wants to save us some money, and he wants to wire it, and I'm sure it's fine.
That's fine, but, maybe do like the standard package or something, and then when you move in, upgrade to certain things, and then that's when you want done it. Yeah,
exactly.
Change out the light fixtures or update the panel or whatever.
But I get it. It's a lot of money. And they can, it saves you a considerable amount of money. It's hard to give that up.
Yeah,
and it really is. But
it's hard, but
I get it.
But also people are, and by people I mean builders, are trying to put out a product that will last for a long time. And if they've been working with the same people for 25, 30 years, they know that they have a.
And then they wonder why. And then it's like, well, now I have to get an extension because the person you wanted to do the work.
Because Uncle Charlie, do you have an Uncle Charlie? Because you keep bringing it up. No. And you brought it up on Tuesday too.
I did? Yeah. That must be my go-to name. No, I do not have an Uncle Charlie. I've never had an Uncle Charlie, and I have a lot of aunts and uncles.
Isn't that like a breakfast place in Uncle Charlie's? Isn't that in Weymouth?
Isn't it the Charlie Horse?
No, I don't think the Charlie Horse is around anymore. I think it's...
I think the one in Kingston's still.
Oh, maybe Kingston. But I think Uncle Charlie's might be a breakfast
Yes, the one in Kingston is alive and well.
There we go.
It's alive and well. I haven't been to a Charlie Horse in a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, no, me either.
No. So what happens if you don't pull a permit? What are the... You roll your eyes like,
I'm not one of those. Not a permit police. Having worked in the building department, I always recommend pull the permit. It's better to just pull the permit, do a basic permit, a $500, the 500 is the basic. That's the lowest. So we charge $50 in the town of Pembroke. Every town is different. Your basic permit could be $50, $60, $75, it could be $100. Depends on every town. If you don't pull the permit, nobody's really the wiser. They fly below the radar. Don't make a big... I wouldn't pull a big backhoe into your yard and expect nobody to call or nobody to notice.
And nobody's going to notice that you're having a pool party.
Yeah, because usually that's the first thing. Somebody's like, hey, my neighbor's putting in a pool and nobody contacted me. Aren't I supposed to be contacted? Well, A, it's not your yard, so no.
Why would they be contacted?
Zoning comes into play with many things. Additions. There are setbacks. Every town has different setbacks. Town of Pembroke, just for an example, 40 feet from the street, 20 feet from the side lot line, 25 from the rear lot line, 10 from your septic tank, 20 from your leaching field. So anything you're going to build has to meet those guidelines and
you need some land.
You need a little bit of land. But, you don't need a lot of land, but you definitely need to meet those setbacks. If you don't meet those setbacks, doesn't necessarily mean you can't have what you're asking for. You have to now ask permission from the Zoning Board of Appeals. And you need to submit an application explaining what you want to do. Then you'll have a hearing. There's a 20-day appeal period. At the end of 20 days, if nobody comes in and says, no, I don't want that. And it doesn't mean you don't get it. More times than not, you do get to do what you want to do, and you've asked permission to do it, so that nobody can come back and say, I did not know that they were putting that in. So that's when you can get yourself in trouble. If you put something in and it's close to the lot line, you could have somebody come and say, you need to take it down.
Yeah. Well, I would think that, something like a pool, that causes noise now. So could that be a noise? No? No.
No.
So noise
definitely comes into play, but it's got to be pretty loud noise. I've had plenty of noise.
It's a grotto, and it's a constant, waterfall.
I could write a book on all the times that somebody came walking through the door of the building department and said, my neighbor, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I'm like, well, then you need to stop right now.
Why are you here?
Exactly, because it sounds like you're going to get somebody in trouble, and the minute you start talking, you can't take it back.
Yeah.
My neighbor put up a shed, and it's definitely closer than my lot line, and I'm like, and here we go. Okay, so now I got to send somebody out. Really? So sheds are an interesting thing in the town of Pembroke. I think every town is pretty close. 200 square feet or less does not require a permit. Does not mean to meet setbacks. Still needs to be 20 feet from the side lot line, 25 from the rear, but it also needs to be anchored to the ground somehow with a staking system.
So it doesn't fly away into the neighbor's yard.
Because ideally, if the wind gets that high, the first thing that's going to fly away is a light shed.
Yeah.
Although most people would put a snowblower or a lawnmower or something. So I mean, I think it's pretty weighted down, but a lot of times it's on a pad, and the structure is around the pad. Mm-hmm. So even though you've got the lawnmower and everything in there, it's just sitting on the cement pad. It's not going to hold the structure around. Yeah. So that's why it needs to be anchored to the ground. Mm. But you don't need a permit for less than 200 square feet. Wink, wink. So a lot of times people come in, don't need a permit. It's like, well, you don't. But I have to tell you, you still need to meet your setbacks. Yeah. And you still need to have it anchored to the ground somehow. Someone will come in here and rat you out. Your neighbor is coming in if they see that shed go up and it's 192 square feet. Yeah. And they're going to come in and I'm going to say, well, it's less than 200 square feet. They don't need a permit. However, you do still need to meet the setbacks. Yeah. And the code.
Have you, when you were at Town Hall, did you ever know of anybody who had to, like, stop what they were doing or rip out what they were doing or something because they didn't build it to code or they didn't, okay.
Yeah, you gotta move it. Decks, a lot of them were decks over septic systems, like people just didn't understand the fact that you can't install a deck and not have access to your septic system. Yeah. I mean, a hatch probably through the deck, a lot of people did that. Things to that nature. Sheds, there's definitely been a few sheds. It's usually, there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of it's just...
You're like, I have PTSD from that.
I do kind of have a little, like, when we were talking about this yesterday, I'm like, ooh, this is like a flashback back to when people would come into the building. Yeah, we've had, fences. Fences are another big one. Oh, yeah. You do not need a permit for a fence. Oh. And you can, technically, put it directly on your property line. However, when you go to the town hall, they're going to recommend to you, the fence should be within your property within 6 feet to a foot. 6 inches to a foot within your property, so you can maintain both sides of the fence. So that way you're not stepping on your neighbor's property and, insinuating, trespassing by saying, well, I'm just cleaning off my fence over here.
I'm staying on the backside that I can't see. I'm just going to clean it off.
And a lot of times fences go up to put you in the distance from your neighbor who you no longer want to talk to or speak to, and that just starts World War III. And
we're just saying, oh, I got a dog, and I want to be able to let it run around free in the yard.
But usually... Are you going to put up the fence? Yes. Yeah, we're going to put a fence around the pool. Yeah. So, we're just going to put a fence around the pool.
So, Hanover, you have to put a fence around your pool, too?
Okay, so pools. I'm like a big advocate.
So you also put in a pool?
I also put in a pool.
Yeah, not just the kitchen.
No, if you're going to do it, you might as well just drop the bomb inside and outside of your house, and now our yard looks like a nuclear bomb has gone off. Pools are a big one. I'm a big advocate for pools. The building inspector used to say to me, not on my watch do I want to wake up in the morning and find out that somebody drowned in a pool because it was not installed properly. Mm-hmm. And we don't have people that will argue this point with you. Pools need to have a gate around them. A fence around the pool, 4 feet high, that opens towards you, not into the pool area.
Yeah, so you can't fall into the pool.
And if your yard is fenced in, you need to have an audible detector on your door that leads out to the pool area. So every time somebody opens a door that leads directly out to the pool area, you get an audible chime that lets you know somebody's coming and going. Mm-hmm. So, which is important. I mean, little kids. Yeah. They don't tell you, and I watched many a special on it. It's, you got to be really careful. Kids have a way of getting themselves into situations and into pool areas, so don't be that person. Yeah. Don't be that person. Have your fence up. Make sure that your neighbors don't have access to your pool. Sometimes we send building inspectors out, and literally there's no fence around the pool. It's like you have to protect this pool. Yeah. Some you don't know, and you hope that it never happens, but it's actually one of the leading causes of death in children
Yeah.
is drowning.
Yeah, my cousin, actually, she drowned in a hot tub, but she lived, but yeah, she was in the hospital for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, just
Be aware of the codes.
Yeah.
Be aware of the codes. If you're putting in a pool, check to see what your town code is. Most towns go by the state code, which is going to be a pool around the pool, a fence around the pool area, a gate that opens towards you, a fence around the yard with a gate that opens towards you, and then any door that opens to the pool area should have an audible alarm on it. That's
Yeah.
the code. That's the
code.
That's the code, baby.
So,
I'm a stickler for that one. As the building inspector, I don't want to wake up in the morning and be that person that's like, oh yeah, I inspected that pool, but I missed it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I would not want that on my conscience.
yeah. After we leave, you detach the audible alarm that you're called to do it, but when we signed off on it, you had an audible alarm, or your alarm system works great, whatever. I mean, if you already have an alarm system, your doors are probably already chimed, so that's all good to go. So it's not
Yeah.
you have to invest a ton of
So you're going to do a fence around your pool, and then are you going to do a fence around your...
No,
just
just
the
the fence
pool?
around the pool. Yep, have it open to the deck, and then a lock on the, so it'll open towards us, and then you'll have a lock on it. Self-locking, self-latching. So when the gate swings back closed, it automatically locks and latches. That's also a state code. Wow. People will argue the point with you, like, but those are my state codes, and that's what I tell people. I'm like, just don't take a chance.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah, because you don't like the way that the door swings?
Yeah, exactly. So, because it's not convenient. Yeah. Have the gate open towards you, because little kids can get into, they can get themselves, and if kids want to get into a pool area, whether you have an audible alarm or whether you have a gate that I'm sure they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. Hopefully they're older and able to swim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us pray.
Yeah, so that's a biggie for me.
Yeah. So...
Pools, additions, sheds, all require permits. All require permits.
I'm
Electrical permits.
surprised at a fence. I don't know why. I'm surprised at a fence that you don't...
You do need a zoning, if it's higher than 6 feet. Anything less than 6 feet does not require a permission, because it becomes more like a structure as it gets higher. So anything over 6 feet is more like it's a high fence. And your neighbor could be kind of irritated by it. It's high.
It's a high fence.
It's a high fence. It's 6 feet. That's the rule. I don't make the rules.
Yeah.
Just try to read them and try to enforce them.
Yeah, well, I would think that, maybe it's because the birds, they're just they'll fly right into it if it's over 6 feet. We have bats, a lot of bats in our backyard.
A lot of bats.
Because, we have the pool, and then there's, trees over it or whatever, and in the summertime, when we're in the pool at night, because we're so hot, when we jump in the pool, there's bats that swoop down
Look how pretty these birds are.
We're like, wow, look at that. And all of a sudden, whoo, there's a bat. We're like, yeah, we gotta go.
That is not a bird.
We gotta go. That is not a bird. It's a bat.
A bird.
Yeah. But, if we had a 6-foot fence with my racket into it.
6-foot fence.
6-foot fence. No, but we did have an owl go into the volleyball net.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, Mary and Sam had to call the wildlife, whatever, and they came and rescued. Well, somebody came and took it because it was all wrapped in the net, so they cut it out of the net.
Did you have to keep it till?
But Mary had to bring it all the way down to the Cape, wherever, I don't know, Barnstable or wherever, and bring it to the sanctuary of it. And they were supposed to bring it back and release it where it was found, but no one ever called us back. So we were like, what happened to it? What happened to it? We may have to call them and say, what happened to our owl? Yeah. We just have a couple more minutes left. So anything else? Anything that we didn't talk about? Roofs?
Roofs, I think roofs are important to get a permit for a roof. I mean, a lot of times building inspectors are not going to climb up on your roof to check to make sure that the work was done properly, because that's probably just more of a safety hazard. But it's really important for when you're selling your house to have that date and time stamp and the name of the company that did the roof, and make sure that the warranty can be transferred over. That's a biggie.
What about, this just popped in my head, what about when you're taking a structure down? Do you need a permit for that?
A demo permit. Yep.
Okay.
A demo permit.
I was just thinking, what if you bought a house and it had a detached garage, but you knew that it was rotted and needed to come down, and you just knock it down, or a shed? Or...
You have to actually get a sign off from the Board of Health on that to make sure that there's no asbestos or anything that will go up into the air on that one. And the other one you need to check with is a conservation, because you want to make sure that you're not taking something down that's near conservation land, and some of that that
With an endangered turtle living in it.
Exactly. Yeah, endangered turtle, endangered, what do they call them? Cat and nine-tail. You just don't want anything that's going to be, asbestos-like, that's going to go into the water, into the ground, that's near conservation land. So they just want to make sure that you're doing it the right way. Put up a silt fence, put up, hay bales to stop any of that from happening. So you need a sign off from conservation. Depends on how big it is. If you're taking down a shed, you wouldn't necessarily need a demo permit for that. But if you're taking down a garage, a structure, you absolutely need sign off. Yeah.
Okay.
Demo permit.
Yeah, I would think. I didn't even think of like asbestos or anything that could go into the air.
Yeah. So you just need to make sure. It could be a hazard. It could be a hazard.
It could be a hazard. Oh, yeah. There's a lot to think about.
There's a lot. Every day somebody would come walking in my door and ask me a question. I'm like, God, I thought I had all the answers, but not to that one. That's a unique one.
What about painting?
No permits for painting. No permits for painting. No permits for yard work, landscaping.
What if you live in like a part of town that's like what are we in right now?
Historic center protection here, which is completely, it doesn't make it not historic. It's center protection. It's its own district. And then there's the historic district.
Oh,
and there's a few other
different districts.
There are, and there are a lot of overlay districts. That could be a business B historic district or a residential A historic district.
Oh, okay. So that's a lot. That's a lot for me on a Saturday morning.
Districts, and then there are historical homes. The individual home itself is deemed historic, which has its own set of rules. And then there's the historic district, where you could have a house that was built in 2008, but it's actually in the historic district, so you got to meet those guidelines.
Where can everybody find all this information?
Oh, baby, you get everything you need to know. You
need a Tracy Grady in your life.
Town of Pembroke, town of Hanover, town of anybody, you'd be amazed by what you can learn going on the sites. You can get, you can go to the assessor's office, you can see lots of land. There's so much.
I'm a big advocate of just going there and like hearing it firsthand, because if you read something, like you could interpret it a certain way. And so I'm always like, I'd rather just go to town hall and talk about that. I think we have like 2 or 3 minutes left, so why don't we give you a chance to give your contact information to all of our listeners, so if anybody has any questions about real estate or permits or anything they want you to build their house personally.
You can reach the Grady team. You can reach me at 617-620-8484, or you can reach my husband Jim at 617-842-4019. Give a little plug to our house in Marshfield. We have a beautiful piece of land at 719 Ferry Street in Marshfield that we're going to build a brand new home on. K&G Development is doing the building, so give us a call if you're interested in building brand new. It's a beautiful design, plenty of time to put your own spin on it.
And there's permits.
And there's permits. There's already permits pulled on this one, so we're already good on this one. The permit's already been pulled, and so if you have any interest, 719 Ferry Street, heading down towards Humrock. It's a beautiful location, really close to the beach.
Yeah, nice. When's the completion for that? Did they already start the building?
They are starting to clear the land this week. They're good.
Clearing the land.
So this is right at the beginning.
And we'll pass on music. But thanks so much, Tracy. I had so much fun. Always have so much fun with you. You're always down to come and hang out with me on Saturday mornings.
8:15. Come in, Tracy.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and thank you everybody for listening. If you want to listen to any of our past shows, talkrealestateroundtable.com or bostonconnect.com. Thank you. Bye, Tim.
Bye, Tim.
Bye-bye.